If you're looking to get a head start on college education while still in high school, the Central Valley Higher Education Consortium is here to help. Joining me right now, we have Associate Director of the Central Valley Higher Education Consortium, Ángel Ramírez, and Dual Enrollment Director, Richard Aguilar. Hello, welcome you guys.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, first of all.
Thank you for having us.
So first, just tell me a little bit about the organization and what you guys do.
Yeah, so CVHEC has been around since 2002. It was originally formed by former President John Welty from Fresno State, and he brought together the higher education CEOs to kind of share some resources and talk about issues that were happening on their campuses.
Okay.
They realized back then that the issues weren't very different, right? And so they decided to come together to focus on things together as opposed to individually. The focus has always been increasing the social and economic well-being of people in the Central Valley by making education more accessible and then also helping with degree attainment for students.
Beautiful. And you guys have this situation, it's the Dual Enrollment Playbook.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's the rundown?
So the playbook is kind of highlights some case studies and some best practices of partnerships that exist with dual enrollment across the valley. You know, in the work that we do some work around math alignment, English, some transfer work, and then dual enrollment as well. This is where the playbook comes in.
Beautiful. And Richard, tell me about your role, or Reedley College's role in all of this.
Yeah, so with the playbook itself, we met with Dr. Kristin and Elaine to kind of go through our best practices and what we're doing at Reedley College, really getting away from the random acts of dual enrollment. It's a common terminology you'll hear in our world, to really being intentional about pathways and structure. And so really setting students off on that right path, identifying a course sequence for them to start as early as their 8th grade year as they graduate as freshmen into their 4 years of high school, and they graduate with associate degrees. And so they're transferring as, well, technically first-time freshmen,
right.
But once they get into the UC system or CSU system, they're technically juniors. And so they're halfway done, completed with their bachelor's degrees.
Ooh, what a relief that would be, right?
Yeah.
Honestly. Do you think of like a specific student in general that would benefit the most from this program?
Yeah, so dual enrollment at its core is an equity strategy. And so it's really centered at helping our lower socioeconomical student or marginalized families, migrant farm workers, and so helping those students get a head start. You know, sometimes they're kind of in the background, right? And so that's kind of the general population we help get into these programs and help them get started and move forward.
That's amazing. And then how do you guys see the need for it, I guess, because not every high school offers it?
Yeah, so I mean, we work with our high school partners to identify have conversations with their community, right? That's kind of where it starts off. Conversation with the parents to kind of see what we're currently offering there, and then really just based off the students' interests. You know, how can we kind of grow a program? And a lot of things that we do are going to be general education focused and based. We call that our CalGETSE certification. So students will get transferable credit to a CSU or UC system, and it's guaranteed.
That's amazing.
So saving time, saving money. You know, some students, I guess I mentioned, they save 2 years out of a 4-year degree. And
yeah,
so
save that
that's
money.
a lot of time and money that they can save, right?
For sure.
Especially for that demographic of population.
Definitely. And now if parents are watching and they already know that they do not have that for their kids at their high school, how can we be proactive in getting that?
Yeah, so I would encourage them to check in with their high schools, because sometimes they do have a program. As I mentioned, sometimes it may be in the randomness, right? Mm-hmm. But we want to make sure that as students advocate and as parents advocate, you know, for their needs, they can always, again, check with their high schools, check in with their local districts, you know, go to the board meetings, ask questions, let them know, you know, because they do have a voice, you know, to say, this is what I heard about, you know, on this program, or what I heard about in my local area. Do we have something like this? If not, can we get something started?
Amazing. And will you just reiterate just how helpful this actually is?
Yeah, I mean, I think I touched on it a little bit, right? But I mean, this helps students really get that head start and that advantage. You know, I can think of a particular student that we did an interview with back in my time when I was at Killeen College, because I represent Killeen and Reedley in both this area. I've been doing about 6 years now. And we had an interview with them, and they said that they were actually going to be graduating after they transferred with their bachelor's degree at 21 years old.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so getting ready to go back into the workforce, going back to help the families and kind of create that generational change.
That's
right?
so nice.
And I have so many of those stories, right? Last year, we graduated close to 180 students with a certificate and degree within our local Reedley College area. So our program is very, very involved in really trying to help the students get to that next stage in their life.
That's amazing. That really just saves you a whole bunch of headache, honestly. And where can people go to just learn some more information in general?
Yeah, so the playbook is live on our website, CVHEC.org, and it's meant for practitioners who want to start dual enrollment programs or expand the ones that they currently have. As Richard said, there are some best practices in there, that not just from Reedley, but other colleges in the area. Beautiful. There's a lot of resources out in the state around dual enrollment, but we felt like they left out rural California in them. So ours focuses specifically on how to make these programs work in smaller districts, smaller schools for those rural populations. So on that CVHEC.org website, they can find out about it. We're also going to have an event on April 24th. It's our Central Valley Higher Education Summit that we have every year. We are sold out, but we have a wait list. And then on our website, they can also sign up for our newsletter to get information about everything else that we're doing.
Yeah. Amazing, great useful information.
In terms of Reedley College, right, you can go to our Reedley College website. We have a page dedicated to dual enrollment, and so parents can go there and get more information about our programs.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Of course. And
love saving money?